What's good, everybody? It's the Clown with Cap Show. UFC 280 was honestly crazy and surprising in some of the fights. In the Pierre Yan and Sugar Sean O'Malley fight, that was definitely a surprise to me. I thought, Yan did just a little enough to get that dub, to get the win. Even though O'Malley won by split decision, I thought it was really super close. I mean, we look at the stat sheet. Pierre Yan total strikes 97 to 91 to Sugar. I just thought, what Sugar did in the third round, I thought that was maybe the difference maker, but still, I thought Yan kind of got robbed in a way. Even though I went Yan 100%, I took the money line on it. I thought Yan was going to win, but, this is the thing. I mean, Yan, in the past has got robbed before in some fights, and this fight was one of the things where it's like, you just don't want to leave it in the hands of the judges. You just don't. And this is the exact fight that you don't want to do that. I mean, what Sugar did, yes, he did get taken down sometimes in this fight, which was kind of like, man, like what's going to happen? But I just think Sugar did just enough to get that split decision victory in the third round. He kind of stood his distance, mixed his strikes with his kicking, stuff like that. But I just kind of feel bad for Yan right now, because I think a lot of the MMA community had Yan in this fight. A lot of the legends like Khabib even said, man, I thought, really Yan did enough to win this fight. He was shocked that they said Sugar Sean O'Malley with the split decision victory, which I was kind of like, oh, man, we have one of the greatest UFC fighters of all time saying, look, I'm surprised, dude. I'm surprised they gave it to O'Malley. But for O'Malley, man, shout out to him, man. He was the underdog coming into this fight. He wasn't supposed to win this fight. Most people, including myself, bet against him in this fight. So it was one of them things where it's like, we know Sugar Sean O'Malley is a real fighter. That's what we do know. I do know he does need to get better on his ground game. When he's up against the cage, there are some weaknesses in O'Malley's fight where if he fights like a true wrestler, that's going to cause some problems here. I think he needs to get better on the ground. His striking's great, dude. We have some of these UFC fighters have great striking. That's awesome. To have good stand-up, but you got to have good ground game. You got to be good in really every aspect of MMA, dude, because there's so many ways that you can lose by submission, by knockout, by just so many different ways to lose in UFC where it's like you got to be good everywhere. And I think O'Malley needs to get better on the ground moving forward, but this is a huge victory for this young man. Absolutely, dude. Like, what he's doing now, man, he's taking off. His personality's great for the MMA community. I love his hairdo, his hairstyle in different fights. I think he drives like a pink Lamborghini or something. I like him, man. I think he's great for MMA community. I think he's great, dude. I really do. Now, Pierre Yan on the flip side, now he's 16-4. In the past couple years, he's racked up some L. So I think for Pierre Yan is to get back in that win column. And I understand, there's some differences, dealing with judges. But as a fighter, you cannot leave it in the hand of the judges. That's what they tell you. All the way from training in day one is you want to knock your opponent out. You want to submit your opponent. So that's it. Case closed. If you leave it in the hands of the judges, you could get screwed. And a lot of people feel like Yan got screwed this fight. Even though he had more total strikes. Like it's just it's crazy, right? But I think what Yan, man, it's just one of the things where he is a dog. He is a true fighter, just like O'Malley. I just think, looking at the bigger picture in this fight, it's like, what are they going to do next? Are they going to get a rematch of this fight? I'd love to see a rematch. I want to be opposed of that because, with how the fight went and everything. But I just think for O'Malley, man, this is great, dude. And the thing is, Pierre Yan took down O'Malley 6 times out of 13 attempts. So he was successful there, and I think he did get dominated in round 1, O'Malley, and then he won round 2 barely and won round 3 barely, and that's how I think he got the split decision win. But I think, I wouldn't be surprised if they do run a rematch of this fight. I wouldn't be mad. I think the MMA community would love this, to get a rematch between Pierre Yan and Sugar. This would be great. It really would. So I think, in the near future, we might see a rematch of this fight. I would love that. But Sugar Sean, man, he's an up-and-coming star. I can't wait to see what's next for him. But I would love a rematch between Pierre Yan and Sugar Sean O'Malley. That'd be great for the UFC. And then the most lopsided, easiest fight was definitely Ahmad Sterling versus TJ Dillashaw. Look, Sterling, he dominated this fight from start to finish. He got the second round knockout. I mean, dude, 148 total strikes for Sterling to TJ Steroid Dillashaw to 13 total strikes. I mean, this was crazy. And TJ is a wrestler, dude. He got dominated. He got taken down 5 times out of 8 attempts from Sterling, and this was just a pure fashion Class A Sterling domination, dude. I mean, it looked like TJ Steroid Dillashaw. I don't even know how he got in this opportunity right now. I mean, it was like, how did he even get in this situation to fight for the belt, for the bantamweight title belt, dude? How did he even get in this situation? I don't know. That's the thing. I think TJ Dillashaw, he's had so many ups and downs in his career, including the steroids. And it's just like one of them things where it's like, if steroids isn't on the back of your name like that, dude, that's not good, man. You know, fighters don't respect that. You know, fighters don't respect cheaters. They don't respect somebody doing roids, man. Come on. That's a form of cheating. It is cheating. So therefore, TJ Dillashaw is a cheater. And he got proven that he got dominated, dude. It was just embarrassing for TJ. You know, what's next for TJ is, you know, I don't know, dude. Like, you maybe retire? I don't know. It's just one of them things where it's like, I don't respect cheaters, man. I don't. You know, I don't understand. If you're cheating, you're trying, whatever. But TJ roided Dillashaw, man. Too many roids. He got fatigued quick, and it looks like he didn't really prepare for this fight. And really, Sterling was the better fighter, obviously. And Sterling is still the champion. What's next for Sterling is, who are they going to throw at him? Are they going to throw out Jan at him? I don't think so yet, because Jan lost to him twice. Yes, I understand the first time Jan was dominating him, and then threw the illegal knee, which was illegal, and then that's why he lost the first one. Then he lost the second one. You know, got taken down numerous of times from Sterling. So I think a lot of people underestimate Sterling, including myself, all the way when he did fight Jan back in the first fight. You know, I was like, man, Sterling, whatever. People were giving him crap on social media, talking all this crazy stuff when he did beat Jan in the first one because of the legal knee. And it's just like, well, he did beat him fair and square in the second one, and then he dominates TJ Dillashaw. So what's next, man? I mean, for Sterling, man, he's the champion still, dude. So it's like, whoever they're gonna throw at him, whoever the UFC and Dana White, you know, what they have going on, what are they gonna throw at Sterling? You know, he's the champion for a reason, and give the edge to him. So I think Sterling, man, he's one of the hottest fighters right now in the UFC, of just being able to win out victories, man. And this was supposed to be a little bit closer than what the experts were saying here. You know, TJ was a great wrestler. I thought this fight would be standing on his feet the whole time. But no, Sterling dominated him, dude, from start to finish, and it was a second round knockout. So shout out to Sterling. TJ Dillashaw should hang it up. Too many roids, man. Stop it, man. And then we had Islam versus Charles Oliveira, the main event, the light heavyweight title, and we got the new lightweight champion of the world, man. Shout out to Islam, man. I mean, one of Khabib's proteges, man. And Khabib, look what he started, man. He is starting something special here in the UFC, man. It's crazy. Even though he's retired, he's still producing champions after him, dude. It's awesome, man. Shout out to Islam, new lightweight champion of the world. I mean, for Charles Oliveira, it was kind of lopsided in a way. Total strikes, 72 to Islam, to Charles 25. I mean, it was just a domination, man. He got taken down a couple times, and really what set it off was in the second round, where Charles Oliveira got hit with the right from Islam. He got dropped. Islam got on top, choked him out, and that was it, dude. That's literally how it went, dude. I mean, Islam threw that nice right, and Charles just dropped, dude. And we've seen Charles drop in many fights before, including the Gaethje fight, I believe, or the Dustin Poirier was. And I just think, you know, why did I bet Charles Oliveira? Because I thought he was really on a streak, really on a win streak. I mean, it was kind of dumb of me to do that, because, you know, looking at it style-wise, is Islam has the mismatch. You know, he's better ground game. You know, we can even say right now, after this fight, it's easy to say that he probably has better stand-up game as well as Charles Oliveira. I mean, I think that's really underestimated in Islam's game, is a stand-up, dude. I think Khabib in that camp is really training Islam to become a better stand-up fighter. He's already a great wrestler. We all know that. He can maul anybody, but I just think, you know, what's next for Islam and Charles Oliveira? We could see a rematch very well. We could see Charles Oliveira rematch, you know, Gaethje, Michael Chandler, one of those guys. But for Islam, man, Who knows? I'd love to see him, fight anybody, right? It's just what we have now for Islam. It's just like the world's kind of in his hands right now with Khabib in his corner, dude. It's very dangerous, and we could see, fighting Volkanovski, the champion from Australia. We could see that. We saw that after the fight. Them two get into it a little bit. Some words exchange. I think that'd be an amazing fight. Islam and that would be an amazing fight. It really would, because they're both similar fighters. They're both kind of short, even though Islam's a little bit taller. Called him the short guy. I think that's great. We could see that fight, but I mean, Islam, dude, it's just a domination. And I'm kind of upset with myself for even betting against Islam and Khabib's camp, because every time I bet against Khabib's camp or Khabib in general, I've been an L. It's been an L for me. I should have learned my lesson a long time ago. I just thought Oliveira had all the momentum. That's kind of why I took him, dude. I thought he had all the momentum. I thought he would really do well on stand-up, but it wasn't, dude. It was kind of similar styles of, like, we've seen Charles Oliveira get dropped many times, and this was one of the times, and I even told myself, if Charles Oliveira does get dropped by Islam, it's a wrap. It's over, because Islam's great at really exploiting somebody's weakness, even when they're down and out, when they feel the pain. And when he got dropped, I was like, man, it's over for Charles, dude. Islam's a different cat here. We have to understand, anybody in Khabib's camp is different, dude. They are built different. They eat, sleep, train MMA, dude, every day. They don't go out to party. They don't get pussy. They don't get any of this stuff, dude. They eat, train, repeat, dude. They're like freaking robots, man, when it comes to this MMA stuff, dude. I'm telling you what. So Islam, man, he's that lightweight champion for a reason, and he's continuing to build champions, man. I think Khabib, man, for Khabib, no, he's not going to come back. I truly believe that. He's going to continue to coach and build champions up. And I think that's what Khabib's going to do in retirement, is have his camp really just build champions, dude, and become dominant and dominate the UFC, dude, for the next 10 to 20 years. I mean, that's what I see Khabib and company doing here in the UFC, and doing great business with Dana White. That's what I see going. But for Charles Oliveira, I could see a rematch with Gaethje, Poirier, Michael Chandler. One of those guys. I could definitely see that. If Michael Chandler beats Dustin Gaethje, I could see, Chandler and Charles getting the rematch here. I could see Michael Chandler getting that rematch. I know Michael Chandler wants that rematch, so I think that's great as well. I can't wait for that if that fight happens. But, shout out to Islam, man. I'm disappointed in myself for even betting against him. From now on, I'm not going to bet against Islam, unless it's against Volkanovski, which is going to be an epic fight. But I think, for Islam, man, that's what they do. They are champions. So shout out to Islam, the new lightweight champion of the world. UFC 280 was amazing. Sterling got the dominating win. I can't wait to see what's next for him. And then Sean O'Malley, man. I mean, a lot of people kind of rubbed him the wrong way. However, whatever the case is, they could be jealous of him. But, hey, he got the win. It's a split decision victory, even though a lot of the MMA community thought Pierre Yan did what he had to do. But I would love to see a rematch. I really would. I'd love to see this rematch even towards the end of the year in December. I would love to put this fight on the same card in December. I'd love to see Pierre Young and Sugar Sean O'Malley get a rematch. That'd be great, man. UFC 280 was amazing. It's the Clown with Cab show. Let's go!